son. But let me tell you who this guy is. Okay, let me tell you who Dr. Dondi Nettles is. So he was born in Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area. When he was younger, he played baseball, and he got one game away. This is kind of cool. He got one game away from the Little League World Series. They were playing against Taiwan. Now, I'm reluctant to tell you the year, but I'm going to because he put it in there. It was in 1977 that he did this, where he was one game away from getting into the Little League World Series. In that exact same year, though, and this is kind of a fun one, he was the California State he was in the California State Spelling Bee. I can't even say it. He can spell it. He was in the California State Spelling Bee in 1970. I think he was the runner-up in the California State Spelling Bee. California, that's kind of a big state. There's quite a few kids there, I would say. That just gives you an idea of how about how smart this guy really is. Now, he went to college. He changed his major 7 times. He could not figure out what he wanted to do in life until he got introduced to being a chiropractor. As a chiropractor, though, he was voted in as in the who's who of American colleges and universities from 1996 to 1970. He had the 4th largest solo chiropractic practice in Arizona. So think about that. Now you got another really, really large state. He had the 4th largest chiropractic practice in the state of Arizona. He had 350 to 500 patients per week coming in. Does it sound like somebody maybe we should listen to? Sound like somebody that might have, I don't know, a little bit of wisdom or some education or the ability to research things. Okay. I know this is one of his more proud things of all these things that are incredible. He's been married to his lovely wife, Marcy, for 11 years. They have a blended family with 4 amazing kids and 3 grandkids. So he knows exactly how I feel about grandkids. Here's kind of a fun stat, a really cool stat. He is consultant number 114. So ask yourself, I mean, if you could ever have a magic wand and turn the clock back, can you imagine being consultant 114 in LifeVantage? That's who he is. So they're also, they're chaplains at their church. You guys, these are very, very spiritual people. So very, very grounded spiritual people, chaplains at their church. And then the other thing, you guys, I think is very, very interesting about Dondi is while he's been here with LifeVantage, he's so well respected that they asked him to be a part of the scientific advisory board. That's who we're going to talk to tonight. That's who's going to talk to you about these products tonight. So with that introduction, let me just start it off like this. Hey, Dondi, let me just start the first question with, what was it? I mean, you were wildly successful. You were wildly successful in your own practice. What was it that made you even consider, a new direction or the potential of joining this industry where you might have some people question that decision? What was it in the beginning that really caught your attention?
Well, it was quite honestly, Tyler, it was the science. But I was at a moment in my life that I had, despite the success in my practice professionally, I was really struggling personally because I had 2 children at home that I literally never saw based on the demands of my practice. Because not only was I in practice and seeing patients, that many patients, we also had an AM talk radio show every Saturday on 2 different stations here, AM stations here in the Phoenix Valley, KFNX 1100 and KPXQ 13 stick seats. So I was literally never home. And so I wanted to be daddy, but doctor was taking all my daddy time. And it wasn't until I just started praying about something to change that I could be a part-time daddy and a part-time doctor where LifeVantage came into my life. But I will tell you, I was a very reluctant recruit because I had a sign on my practice door that said no soliciting. And it mentioned 2 companies by name because they were the 2 most prevalent in my area right now. And so I literally wanted no part of network marketing, and not because I had ever tried it, in full transparency, because I had never tried it, but I didn't know anybody who did. I got solicited a ton. And before I opened my practice here in Arizona, because the permits took about 3 months longer than they were supposed to, I had a lot of free time. And I went into the court system here in Arizona to see what chiropractors were being disciplined for as far as their license is concerned. And I saw a repeated habit over and over, that they were selling network marketing distributed products that had no clinical sense. In other words, they were selling candles and press-on nails. I remember that one. That I just didn't understand why doctors would be selling candles and press-on nails to their patients. So that just reaffirmed why network marketing was not in my future. But it wasn't until Protandem, which was not a network marketing product, when I started taking it. It was off the shelf at GNC. And I had tremendous success personally with a knee injury and bringing it into first 5 initial patients and then over 30 when I got a call from an amazing firefighter in Tucson by the name of Blue Elam, who shared with me this company and this product that I was already taking, already had it deeply entrenched into my practice. And the only reason I decided on that was because of the science. And as a professional looking, and it was not network marketing, so I didn't scrutinize it that way, but it had to be something that stood up to the science scrutiny, which I put it through, and it did. And then once I saw that it was going into network marketing, I had a decision to make, to either get over my opinion of it or have my prayers answered in something I didn't see coming. So to answer your question, Tyler, it began and it ended with the legitimate science, the finished product science, not the ingredients-based science in medical journals that I was already reading. So that was the only thing that I needed to see. And it was extremely profound, and I'd never seen it anywhere else.
I love that. I think that's the experience of a lot of the people in this. I've heard that everywhere I go. I mean, it's some version of that. I was either really, really busy, didn't have a ton of time. I needed something with validation. I knew the industry didn't have a lot of validation. I was excited about a company that had validation, and I wanted to be a part of that, right? Yep. So tell us really quick, if you will, don't explain this at the level that you understand it, okay? Will you please explain this at a level that I would understand? I mean, I'm just a real estate appraiser from Central Utah. I know there's a lot of people on this call that might be out in the middle of somewhere, in the middle of, that are wondering, do I have to know what Dondi knows to be successful? What is it about Protandim? I mean, tell us what Protandim is in the most layman's terms you possibly can.
Absolutely. Well, it capitalizes on a major advancement in science. And I'm going to go all the way back to 2002. I read a book in 2002 and I brought it because it was a very pivotal book in my life. It's called Never Be Sick Again. And the author's name is Raymond Francis. And in 2002, he talked about all disease having one common denominator: cellular malfunction. No matter what disease it is, whether it's an inconvenient disease like back pain or a terminal disease like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and things of that nature, they all have one common denominator, and it is cellular malfunction. In other words, some cells are malfunctioning, and as a result, we call it a disease, and sometimes it can be terminal. But he went in a deeper level, and of the one disease, cellular malfunction, there's only two causes, and that is deficiency and toxicity. And we are deficient in something, and as a result, the cells start functioning normally, and they start malfunctioning, and then left long enough, we call it a disease. Or the other is they're deficient in something. They need something they don't have, and they're not getting it. And so as a result, if left that way, it will start to malfunction. So toxicity and deficiency are the only two causes of all disease, and activation handles them both. And so when I saw the magnitude of that, it was purely the magnitude. And I understood antioxidants, and I understood ORAC values, which most people who understand antioxidants kind of measure it in an ORAC value, which stands for oxygen radical absorbance capacity. The higher the number, the stronger the antioxidant, which is where the blueberries and the oranges and the turmeric and all the spices come in. And that was the model. That was the prevailing model until activation. And it literally is a 1-to-1 ratio with the spices and the berries and the superfruits from the exotic corners of the rainforest somewhere you've never heard of. And it comes highly toted, or when your cells do it by themselves. So 1-to-1, meaning whatever that ORAC value is. And I'll give you an example. Turmeric it has about a 15,000 ORAC value, but it would take 66 tablespoons of turmeric every single second to come close to what you see in that blue bottle right there. 66 tablespoons. Nobody has the ability to even consume 66 tablespoons per second. Well, when it's your cells doing it, it's 1-to-1, meaning one number of that 15,000 will neutralize one free radical. So turmeric neutralizes 15,000 free radicals per second, but it's 1-to-1 million per second. Every molecule, and there's millions in every cell of your body, every single one of them is neutralizing 1 million free radicals per second, every second, ongoing. It was exponential. So and I looked at it, I looked a little deeper until I got to a number I couldn't even fathom. And that's how many free radicals does the human body create in one day just by keeping up with its BMI, its basal metabolic index, just by breathing. 300 sextillion free radicals every 24 hours. That's a 3 with 23 zeros after it. So how many tablespoons of turmeric at 15,000 molecules or 15,000 free radicals neutralized, how many tablespoons of turmeric would you have to eat? Beyond human capacity. That's how much. And that's when I realized 66 tablespoons every second of turmeric, or 1 tablet per day. It was a very, very easy very easy question for me to answer. And that's when I realized this is where I have to finally adhere to 100% of my Hippocratic oath that I took as a chiropractor. And that is, first, to do no harm. Second, to do everything within my power, my education, and my experience to do right by my patients. And once I understood the magnitude of that, I had to tell my patients. I had an ethical and moral responsibility to. Forget whether they bought it or not, or believe me or not. I had an ethical responsibility, and not just to my patients, to the world at large. And that's when I decided to jump into this company. And 18 months later, back in 2009, in 2010, I sold my practice, and I've been a stay-at-home dad for the last 14 years, thanks to LifeVantage and what it's doing for people in the world. So it was an easy decision for me. That 1-to-1 versus 1-to-1 million made it super simple. And that's not my opinion. That's published in medical journals. Read them yourself.
So with that, I mean, how many medical journals are confirming what you're saying right now?
At least 30.
There's 30. So 30 plus medical journals are confirming what Dr. Nettles is saying on this call tonight. Okay. Now, I want to take it one step further. I'm going to give you I can't do what Dr. Nettles just did. He is amazing. He's knowledgeable. He has so much wisdom. That's why I love this guy. Okay. I want you to send this video to anybody that needs to hear what he just said. Okay. Here's what I say. It makes your body work like it did when you were young.
Yep.
That's what it does. If you felt better when you were 15, take our product. If you felt better, if you want energy, if you want to have the kind of pain that you, or the less amount of pain that you like when you were 15, you need to take this product. Now, I know that explanation is not enough. So you tell them that, and then have them listen to what Dr. Nettles just said. Those two things, one will get him to listen. But what Dr. Nettles just said, it makes him want to take the product forever. Is that fair? Okay. All right. Next thing. Let's go to this next slide, you guys. We're pretty proud of what's happened here just recently. We went out to a bunch of consultants. We said, hey, what do we need to do? You know, we have one of the most standalone products out there for all the reasons that Dr. Nettles just talked about. We have this. What can we do? And they said, you need to add collagen. Now, I will tell you, when I first heard about this, I was not fired up. I was like, wow, really, collagen? And because I didn't understand, I did not know what collagen would do. So I am really excited to have Dr. Nettles tell us, what does the combination of Protandim and collagen, I mean, what is the significance of those two things together if someone really does care about their health, or if they're looking for that health solution? What is that significance?
Great question, Tyler, and thank you so much. And I will mirror what you just said, because I remember hearing about the new product collagen coming out, and I was like, great, we're getting into the beauty world again. I thought with our and nothing against that. I just didn't think it was going to be a product that had merit, because I understood supplementation as far as collagen is concerned. I did not understand collagen activation. So if you look at the blue bottle, the Protandim NRF2, it reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. And maybe some of you on today's Zoom have never heard of oxidative stress. Well, let's forget the first word and just focus on the second. Stress. You understand what stress is. If you're under stress, you're not as good of a husband or a wife or an employee or a dad or an uncle or whatever it is, even a neighbor. When stress enters the equation, you are less than your potential. So it starts there. That's the foundation. Reduce the oxidative stress, or reduce the overall stress to every one of your cells. That's the benchmark. That's the foundation. Now we can build on top of that with collagen, because every single joint in your body, all 5 things that make it up, the bone, the muscle, the tendon, the ligament, and the cartilage, all of them are made of collagen. Everything that holds you together, your brain, your heart, your cardiovascular system, all of your muscles, your nerves, everything is made with collagen. It is literally what holds you together. So if you have a foundation of less cellular stress overall, and now you add back in not just supplementing collagen. So in that beautiful brown and pink bottle, there is an amazing amount of collagen. But that's not the benefit, because it's not the only collagen containing product out there. Some of you are already on one. You mix it in your coffee every day. You buy it in the blue tub at your average warehouse, but it doesn't tell you to take before and after pictures. And most of the time it's because they're not expecting any profound visible results. This one is different. And the reason why it's different is it turns your body's ability to make its own collagen back on again. And when I found that out, I completely abandoned my previous my previous understanding of, wow, why are we doing this product? Then I understood exactly why. Because as a chiropractor, every Every single disc in every vertebra is made of 60% collagen on the outside and 40% collagen on the inside. And now we're starting to see x-rays where they're actually getting bigger disc spaces again, which never happens. But it matters now how you feel on the inside. So if you're looking better in those before and after pictures, imagine what's happening on the inside. And here's the thing that blows me away, Tyler. With the ability of the human body, it prioritizes its own need. And that is, supplements don't do that. You can take a supplement, and if you take too little, you're still going to have the symptoms, though they may be reduced a little bit if that's what you're focusing on. Or you can take too much and have an adverse reaction. But the body, when left to its own devices and making its own collagen, making its own antioxidant enzymes, never, ever, ever makes too little or too much. It always makes the right amount for your need, but your need may be different than the person who's taking the same products. And so your experience may be different because your hierarchy of need is determined by your body's innate wisdom, not the benefit of the products. And